Let's get started. Hi guys, welcome to CS374. This is the second tutorial. Today we're going to talk about JavaScript, and I'll briefly introduce what the jQuery is. So this JavaScript is also a part of your assignment. So we have three assignments, right? Three, right? The first one is now what you guys are doing. This is about HTML. And the second one is about JavaScript. And the third one is like working with data. And we're gonna provide another tutorial for the assignment number 3. By the way, how was the previous tutorial? Was it like easy or good? Good, right? So let's get started. Here's the summary of the previous tutorial. So we talked about HTML and CSS, right? So I said HTML is a programming language that describes our sort of web page. So every website have to contain this HTML code, right? So HTML is for presenting the structure of a web page. So HTML describes the structure between a lot of elements in a single web page, right? So we kind of I showed the structure of our course website in previous week, right? You guys remember? Sort of. And CSS for presenting content, like we can modify some font, or we can increase the size of font, right? These are all about presentation, not about structure, right? So here we kind of separate this HTML and CSS. Here, what I call separation of concerns, right? Separation of presentation and content. And by dividing it, we can kind of focus on each of these, right? And I also mentioned about web browser. So web browser is it kind of renders and interprets our HTML code and CSS code and display it presents some visual result of this code, right? So there are a bunch of different web browsers, including Chrome, Internet Explorer, Firefox, whatever, and all of it has sort of different mechanism or algorithm to render single web page. So it could it could yield different results, right? So we are using which browser? We're using Chrome. You should use Chrome, not Explorer. Even for your design project, no, just Chrome. Okay. So here's the summary. And the last week, I presented this diagram, right? Here is the overall structure of our sort of website. So it consists of 3 layers. The first one is structure, and here we use language HTML. Secondly, here is presentation, and we use language CSS. And the third one, today's topic, is about behavior, action. So here we use the language JavaScript. It is basically about what website does for us. Like, let's say if we click something, then our website needs to react our click. It is not about structure. It is not about presentation. It is about actions, right? So here today's topic is how do we embed our actions to the website. So this is our today learning objective. Students will be able to build the following website on codepen.io. So let's say here, if I click, so we can click one of these options, and these options will be randomly given. Okay. So if I click this 374, then here one of the counts will be increased. So this is basically the click count. Okay. So I click, then this count will be increased, and I can also add another options here. Okay. Then interestingly, we could have several options, like more than 20, right? Then randomly, 2 of these options are given here. So I can click, and the click count will be increased. Does it make sense? Makes sense? Yeah. So I'll try this. What? It's horrible. How do I? Here we go. So this is our website. So initially we have two options. So if I click introduction to HCI, then the click count goes up, right? Like if I click again, it goes up. And the options are randomly given from the options that we have. And I can also add another options, like let's say blah blah blah. Then it'll automatically append it here. And these options are kind of shuffled, like blah blah blah. Here's now here, right? So among those options, we randomly select two of these, and if I click that, then click count should be increased. Does it make sense? And this list are sorted in descending order. Okay, it's quite complex, but it is all about actions, right? If I click this, then the machine should understand, and it should run some kind of algorithm, and it displays differently, right? So it is all about actions. And to embed this kind of actions, we use JavaScript. Okay. So JavaScript is a programming language to make a website do something. Okay. And simply think, a web browser executes the JavaScript code. So you can write a bunch of JavaScript code, and the web browser will execute the code for you. Okay. Let's say we want to compute this sum and print it on CodePanda.io. And you guys are quite familiar with Python, right? And it should be a piece of cake. If not, I don't know. So I'll just do it. CodePanda.io. So last week we talked about like this kind of thing, hello world, right? And here's the result. But here it is now complicated because we need to compute some value, right? And we need to use JavaScript. And also we need to display this computed value to our website, right? So to do that, here is the default skeleton. And I will write a div result. So you know what it is, right? Div is a tag. You can see this as just a simple box. Div means just a box. Okay? So here's a box, and the ID is result. Does it make sense? But it displays nothing, right? There's nothing. So what I want to do is I will compute some value in JavaScript code, in JavaScript plain. And after I got results, then I will put the results to there. Okay? Does it make sense? Then we need to first compute the value, right? The sum from 1 to n. And let's say n is 10. Then we need to compute the value. And secondly, we need to put the result into the div. right? To compute the value, there is a for loop like this. It is like a C in C++, right? It looks like for in C. And I'll simply say like this. It is easy, right? And here, note that there is a bar. There's no type. Like in C or C++ or even Python, we have a type, right? But there's no type here. We just use bar for every variables. Then the result should be 55, right? Maximize. Is it too small?
Because the screen is dark, so like we can see this.
So I mean this is too small. No? I don't know how to switch this color, but is it okay? It should be okay. There's no other alternative. Anyway. So let's see our result. Here if I say console log and result, then there's 55 here, right? Here basically the console.log in JavaScript, it prints this value to our kind of internal plane. It is just for developer. If you are using Windows, then Control Shift and I will show this plane. And if you are using Mac, maybe Command Shift and I, then it will show up. And here we have 55.
Or you can make console on the bottom left. You will just
Oh, console. Okay, cool. Does it work? Oh yeah, 55. Wow. So if you are using that code pen for your own desktop, then please use this screen. Okay, we call it like inspector. So we have now 55. That means it computes well, right? And one other thing we need to do is put this result into this div. Okay? To do that, we need to access this div in JavaScript, right? So here's the thing. We first have a variable. We will declare a variable that kind of points this div. Okay? And with this variable, we're going to put this value to this div. Okay? So first, I will say var my div is equal to document get elements by ID result. So there is a special character, right? Document, you can simply think document as like just this code. And among the documents, I will get my element by using ID, and the ID is result. Then it returns the objects that points this div. Okay? So now what I have to do is in the inside of this div, I will put this value of result. To do that, my div dot inner HTML is result. So it is straightforward, right? My div points to our object or our div, and here inner HTML means exactly our the inner HTML, inner part of this div, and it's gonna be result value. Then we can display our computed result into the div. So maybe if it is 20, then it will display different values, right? Does it work? Sort of. If it is not working, then please raise your hand. Not work? Okay. This, by the way, this is case sensitive. You need to use lowercase, uppercase here. So, this is the way we are kind of integrating this HTML and JavaScript. Does it make sense? Can I move on? Okay. That was the example, but our learning objective is much more complicated than that, right? So, what do you think about actions? Which actions we need to implement? Sorry? Click. If we click some of these, then there should be something happen, right? Something should happen. So click, click, and this one as well. If we click this, then something happens, right? What about these? We need to sort them, right? In a descending order. So user action is just click, right? If user click one of these, then what's happening is that first of all, machine should understand the elements, right? And machine should increase this count, right? That's it. But after that, machine should select two options randomly from this pool and show it again here. That is kind of refreshing the options, right? Makes sense? And also, after you start typing the value here and click this button, then this option should be automatically appended here. Okay? So there are two things. First one, if we click, increase the value, give another options. If we click this, then put this option to there. That's it. Right? So, bunch of different things. And we call it event. Like events happen whenever interesting things take place. So if we click something, then there's an event. Okay. If we type something, there's also another event. Like key down event happens. Okay. If user do something on your website, everything is implemented as event. Okay. So in the JavaScript, what you need to do is to implement something that handles this event. If user clicks something, then blah blah blah. If user types something, blah blah blah. We call it event handling. Okay. So like every click or every mouse move it generates all the events. Mouse click, mouse move event. And whenever you type keyboard, and also you can sort of define your own event in your JavaScript code as well. But it is beyond of our scope. Let's skip this example. So I want you to go to this link, bit.ly 374 tutorial-2. and it will give you the basic code. So you guys see this plane? So this is the HTML code of this, and this is the CSS of this. And here is the JavaScript code that I already implemented. But below, there's functions that we need to implement. So this is the skeleton. I'll explain about the code, but does it make sense? Okay, so let's go over the code, JavaScript code. So we need to implement this website, and my idea is to maintain the data structure ideas. So you can see this as array or Python list. Okay, so in this ideas we have course name and the count, and it is a single element. Okay, we will maintain this data structure. What if there is another option? Let's say I click some button to add another option. Then what should happen there? It should be appended, right? Okay, so we will maintain the data structure there, and the variable name is ideas. And also, there is a two divs, and the ID is first and second. This is the first, and this is the second. The ID of this is first, and this is second one. So that means, so you can see here, right? So that means, whenever I want to access to the first option, I will use divs 0. For the second option, div 1. Okay? So it is kind of a way of accessing the element in our web page. So I will use that variables. And my table is this one. This is the table. Whenever I want to update this table, I will use the variable myTable. Okay? So first, I declared all the variables to basically manage this website, right? And there are a bunch of functions that we'll use. First of all, sort ideas. It sorts the ideas in a descending order. And here you can see ideas that sort. It sorts the list, but this is not a simple list, right? We have paired elements. So there is a function that serves criteria. Okay. And get random int, it literally generates a random int. Why do we need this?
To select two random courses.
To select two random ones, right? Among like 10 different options. And fill content, description is saying fill the contents of the object div object. So this is the variable, right? Div object. It will point an object inside of this HTML in this website. And I don't know what it is, but let's call it div object. So I will pass the arguments there. Okay? So let's say we have div object, and I will fill the div object with the value content. So the content is gonna be like string or integer, whatever. And I will put this value of content to the div pointed by div object. Make sense? Okay. refresh options. So in the left plane, we have two different options, right? So I will update the two different things. Basically, randomly select two of these and show it. Okay? Refresh list. On the right plane, we have a table, right? So I will refresh that. Whenever let's say I want to put another options, then it should be refreshed, right? So first of all, I will update the data structure ideas. Then I will display the result in the form of table. Make sense? So refresh options means update the left field. It means update the right field. Initialize table, we will just, currently have two rows, but if I call update table, initialize table, then we'll basically just get rid of all the elements except header. Okay? So we'll use all the functions to implement that. And bind event, I said event handling, right? I will write some code to handle user-generated event, like click. Okay? So let's go with this one. I want to remove all the rows here. How do I do this? First of all, we need to use my table variable, right? To access this table. And what I'm going to do is I will iterate each rows and just get rid of it. Okay? But to do that, we need to first figure out the number of rows here, right? And of course, we have something. Num rows is equal to my table dot rows dot length. And it returns the number of rows here. In this case, 3. But should we remove all the 3 things? No, but 2 are, right? So I will write for loop
그 자료에서는 아니요, 아까 이
number of rows minus 1, right? I should not remove the header. Then what I need to do is for each repetition, I need to remove 1 row, right? So I will say my table dot delete row 1. So what happens is each of the execution, it will remove the first row. Okay. So after removing this row, it will be here. Then I will also remove this one. So I just keep removing the first row. Okay. Then after executing this for loop, maybe table only have the header, right? Without the comments.
Because the first row is actually row 0. So the first row here is the actual,
Second one.
Yeah.
Yeah. 0, 1, 2. Okay. But how do we know delete row actually delete this? How do we know it? You didn't know it, right? I know it. You didn't know. How do we know?
Google.
Yes.
Right. Google knows it. So similar to the HTML, you need to search everything. Okay. All right. So this is the initialized table, and I'll just reduce. And there's a lot of things. This is also the easy one. So what we need to do is for div object, we need to fill the contents with the value of content, variable content. And I already did it. You remember? Compute one, sum of 1 to n, and put this value to div. Remember? This is exactly the same one. Inside of this div, fill the content with this value. How do we do it? Right. Div object dot what? Inner HTML. That's what? Content. Then it will update the content of div. And when do you think we need to use that? When do we need to update the value of a div? By the way, this is not a div, this is table. And these are divs, right? And we need to update the string, right? We need to randomly pick 2 of these and put this, right? When we do that, we'll use this function. After every event, yeah. So whenever we want to put some new value here, then we're going to use this one.
So what is best as a parameter we can modify, okay? So it is function. I mean, div option is best as a parameter or argument, and we can modify it inside this function.
So we can put whatever thing.
This is
To
like
this one.
pointer, right?
Yeah, pointer. Right. Makes sense? And let's go to bind events. This is quite complicated. So bind events means I will register all the event handler. Okay, what is event handler? A sequence of code that basically handle my event. Okay, then we need to first figure out when the event happens. Right? Let's say whenever click happens, then do something. Whenever typing happens, do something. Right? To do that, you remember this div1, div0, div1. So whenever div1 got a click, we call it onClick. And whenever div1 got clicked, then execute this function. And note that div1 is pointing to this first box. So that means whenever a user clicks the first option, first div, then it will execute this functions. Makes sense, right? So what should we do? What should we do? Increase ideas, right? The corresponding idea. And what should happen? Display what?
The new count.
Display the new count, right? And after that, we have to shuffle this, right? So whenever it happens, increase the number, increase the count on our data structure ideas, right? And after that, we need to display the count here, right? So basically, update the right plane. Okay? And after that, update the left plane.
Why not update the next?
We have to give another option here after clicking.
What if I don't update and I click again, that means the count won't increase?
So if you don't update, then there's going to be here, this one, just permanently. So if we don't update these two options, then if I click it, then it will go up, but it stays the same. So if we have 10 different options, then we need to give another options here as well for every click. it gets clicked. And I want to increase the value of this count. How do we do it? The ideas is our data structure, right? So first of all, let's say user clicks this one, right? Then we should know, the machine should know that it is in idea 0, right? If it was crowdsourcing, and if user click it, then the machine should understand this crowdsourcing is in ideas 1, right? Machine should know the index of this element, right? But currently we don't know it. Okay? So I will maintain this data structure as well, index. It will contain the corresponding index of these divs. So let's say if it is an introduction to HCI, then this is the first box, then IDX 0 will get 0. Makes sense? No? What if it was a crowdsourcing? Then the crowdsourcing is located in IDS 1, right? The index is 1, right? So IDX 0 will have 1. What is the meaning of IDX 0? IDX 0 will have the index of this box. Okay? So using the IDX array, we will locate where this element is in our IDS variable. Make sense? And we'll keep updates this IDS as well, whenever every update happens on the left plane. Okay? So let's assume that IDS is perfect. It contains the corresponding index. Then there is a line event. So let's say IDX contains the index. Then now we can locate the corresponding element in our IDS variable, right? You guys make sense? So IDS 0 will contain the index. And now what we have to do? What do we have to do? What is the code here? IDS contains the count, right? So we need to modify the value in IDS. So maybe IDS should appear here, but after that, what? What is the index? IDX 0. Smart enough. It contains our, element, right? So here is the element. It consists of two things, name and count, and we need to increase the count, right? So after that, what? 1 and what? Yeah, double plus. It will increment the count. Make sense? Any question? No. Yes.
Isn't 1 plus supposed to be inside the ideas bracket?
So ID, it returns. The first part returns this list. So we increment it. Now our data structure has the correct value, but our result doesn't display the correct value, right? We didn't update this. So what should we do?
Update it.
Refresh. Was it? Refresh list. We'll update the right plane, right? So refresh list. Then it will automatically update the right plane. but is it the end? No. What should we do now?
So
How to solve it?
Refresh, we need to refresh the left plane as well. So refresh options. Options. Okay, that's it. Whenever user click the first one, then it increase the value, right? Increase the count, and it will update left and right plane. That's it. What if the second one gets clicked? This is just about the first one, right?
Basically almost the same.
Yeah, all the things are same except for this index, right? So I'll just copy and paste. By the way, copying and pasting is very bad habit when you're doing implementation, but who cares? So this is one. It should be one, right? Make sense? So now, if we click this and click that, it will, there should be no problem, right? And, but is it all the events that we handle? Clicking, is it all the events we need to handle?
Adding
No?
options.
Yeah.
This one, right? So here's a bit more complicated. There is a button, right? And we need to read the value of here, right? And we need to do something. What should happen? If we click this, then we need to read the value, and we need to append or push this option to our data structure ideas, right? And update this plane, right? Right? Yeah. Click this, read this string, put this, option to ideas data structure, update it. That's it, right? So our button, the name of button is ID of button is here submit BTN. This is the button ID. So first of all, we need to access, we need to point it. How do we do it?
Get element.
Get element by ID, right? So var my BTN is document.get element by ID. Submit BTN. This is case sensitive, by the way. You need to be super careful. Then after that, now we have this variable, and we need to attach our event handler, right? Like this, on click. So my btn dot on click So it means whenever our button gets clicked, then it will execute this function, right? So what should we do? First of all,
Need to access the contents of the text field.
right? We need to read the value here, right? And what?
Then we should add this to the
Yeah, append this option to our data structure ideas. And what?
add a counter. to
Refresh the right one and left one. Makes sense. So how do we read the value? Here the ID of the text field is my input.
Get element by ID my input.
Cool, genius.
Okay.
So my text is gonna be document dot get element my ID, my input, then this is the object, right? But it is not the text. How do we extract our text?
Dot value.
My text dot to string.
And one idea is my text dot string. No.
Dot value.
Value? Value? Yes. So you need to Google it, right? So it returns the string in the text box. And what we have to do now is to append or put this string to our data structure, right? How do we do it? Ideas, and there's a method push. It will append this element at the end of the list. Like in Python, there's a append, right? And we need to push a list, right? Remember? Each element consists of two things, name, count, right? So the first one should your first element should be the string. Where's the string? Yeah, here. My text the value. And there should be a count. What is it? 1. Yeah, the initial value is 1. Sorry. And it will be there, right? Now what should we do?
Refresh.
Refresh. Refresh list. Refresh options. But there's one thing we need to do additionally. Is it okay to move on?
Yeah, we need to clear the text field.
If we don't clear the text field, then the string stays here. So we need to initialize this field as well. How do we do it? My text value is equal to. Then the empty string will be there, value, and the string will be removed. So we have two things, these two things. Refresh option is to refresh those two things, right? How to do it? First of all, we need to pick two random options, right? Two random options. And we need to display the options, right? That's it. But be careful, we also have IDX array, right? Here, we need to update this one as well. Whenever the left plane gets updated, we need to also update the index, right? So, I will first pick two values that are different from each other. They should be different, right? And next, display the string to the left plane and update IDX. Right? Pick the values, display it on the left plane, and update the IDX. How do we pick two values that are different from each other? Here we need do while loop. And the first, let's say, our first index is currently -1, and second index is also -1. And I will give random number there, and I will compare two numbers. So first index is what? We also have a function get random int, right? So get random int. What is the reason here? The first value should be 0, right? What is the second one? What is the maximum value? Size of options, right? Size of ideas. Ideas dot length. But this function is closed reason, not open. Okay, so it should be -1. This is the last index that we have, right? It is closed. And secondly, second index is also get random int ideas dot length -1. So we picked two random integers, but if they are same, then we need to repeat again, right? So that's why we are doing this comparison. What is the criteria? You guys know do while loop? Yeah. While what? First index. Index is equal to second index. So when this is true, then we need to go up. If it is a false, then go down. Right? Okay, now we successfully picked two values. Then what should happen? Display the string to the plane. But remember, we also have this field content, right? So we need to pass the div and the content. What is the div object? For the first box, what is the div object? Where is it? Here. Div 0. It is pointing the first box, right? So div 0 fill content. So I will put this value to div 0, right? And what is the string? There should be string here. What is the string?
Ideas.
Ideas. First index 0. By the way, this is hard implementation. It is not a straightforward one. Yeah, don't be very disappointed if it is too hard. And field content divs 1, ideas. Second string. So now we successfully displayed two strings to two different boxes. And what is the remaining thing? Update the index, right? What is the index 0? First index. And IDX 1 is going to be second index. So this is the last one. Refresh list. So it basically updates the right plane, right? Right plane. And how do we update the right one? First of all, we have something, right? But but it should be updated. So here's an easy strategy. We first initialize the table and add the rows. Okay, we first remove all the rows and add the current rows. Okay, and how do we add one? Where is the first element? So to add a single row, we need to know these values, right? Where is it? Ideas. Okay. So first of all, we will remove all the rows. What is the function? Initialize table. Right? And what's next?
Sort the ideas.
We need to sort. That's a great point. So sort ideas. Then it will sort in descending order. And what's next?
Add rows one by one.
Yeah. We need to add rows, right? So we will iterate all the ideas elements and how do we do? We need to add a row, right? To do that, so this will insert a row, and here is a row index. So that means we will insert a row at the second row. Okay? And it returns the object to row. So we can access this row by this variable. And now there's a row, but there's no column. Right? So we need to add columns as well. So first column is going to be row dot insert cell. That means, makes sense, right? The row will insert a new cell at the index of 0, and it will return the object to code 1. And code 2 is going to be insert cell 1. So now we have a single row which consists of two columns, right? Two cells. First cell is called code 1, and the second cell is called code 2. Right? So now we have all the objects. What should we do now? Now we have two cells. Oh, here it is. We have two cells, right? What should we do now? Yeah, inner HTML. We should fill the cell, right? So call one dot inner HTML is gonna be 1. Ideas. I. This is the first cell. It should contain this tree. So ideas I consist of two things, right? And 0. Ideas I 0. Following me? In code 2 dot inner HTML is also ideas I 1. Make sense? For each IDS, we will create a new row and create 2 columns and put these values.
So we don't have to go to the English source string if it's integer or something.
If it is, let's say, integer,
No,
so there's no type here. So if it is string, then it will just, the machine will do it. We don't need to care. Make sense? Yes.
Will field content work for this call 1 and IDSI 0?
Sorry?
Field content function.
Field content. Okay.
Would it be okay to use field content to fill the columns?
Would it be okay to
To use field content to fill the column 1 with IDSI 0 and column 2 with IDSI 1?
column 1 is IDS I0, IDS I1? What's the problem?
Hey guys, can we use field content function to do this?
To do this one?
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yeah, they're doing the same thing, right? I think that's the better idea. Sorry. All right, that's it. So now we have all the functions, right? And it should work. Introduction, crowdsourcing, and CS, XYZ. I wanna leave now. Then this one. Oh, why it is not sorted?
I don't know why, but the original code also don't sort of.
It's not sorting. It should work. It's weird. It was working fine. Anyway, yeah, please debug it. This is homework. There is no logical flaw, but I don't know. Maybe I had a mistake in sorting, but do you guys, does it make sense? Does this code make sense to you? Okay. So if there is a question, then please ask me. By the way, this is actually very, high-level code. It is difficult.
마이너스 1, 0, 1 스타일로 리턴 값이 나와서
얘는 원래 그래야 할까? 얘는 컴퓨터인데 저 그럴 수 있어. Okay, if you have any question, please ask me. Or not, that's it for today.